All right, guys, what's going on? Josh Culler here for the REI Marketing Weekly Newsletter. And for today's segment of Who's Crushing It, I've got my good friend Jimmy Ogle representing out of Oklahoma City, if you can't tell by the state on his hat there. So Jimmy's actually a client. I was actually just with him last week in Oklahoma City, and man, we had a good day, man. Like it was raining like crazy. Yeah, so weird start, weird ending. I actually got stranded in Oklahoma City, and long story behind that. But so Jimmy is actually one thing that he mentioned to me that he's doing that's working well with acquiring leads for homes is he is actually, so he's using postcards. I mean, most everybody marketing 101 with acquiring, distressed sellers is using postcards, right? I mean, most of you are probably doing that if you're not already. One thing that Jimmy's doing a little bit differently is adding a photo of his family to the actual postcard. And he says that it's getting really good traction. So I'm going to have him talk about that a little bit, kind of about where he got the idea for that and kind of the results that he's seeing out of it. And maybe even explain out, no, Jimmy, if you have the postcard that you showed me there on your desk, if you could show that too, that'd be cool. But Jimmy, before you jump into actually explaining that, do me a favor for the people who don't know who you are, just give a 20 to 30 second rundown of who you are and what you do.
So my name's Jimmy Ogle, Oklahoma City. I've been in real estate for 5 years now. We average anywhere from 5 to 10 deals a month and growing. And probably 50 to 70% of that is wholesale. And then big portion buy and hold, and then we flip a couple as well. But just growing. Used to have a real estate franchise and got out of that recently, and now doing it on our own. And so just learning and growing is the name of the game right now.
Yeah, and we had that conversation about the franchise you were with before, and they did all the marketing and everything, and now you have to do the marketing. So you got to be a little creative with how you're getting deals and everything. So go ahead and talk about the postcards then, kind of where you got the idea and how that's working for you, kind of like the process that you're going through with actually. I know that you said you're using a new photo or something like that. So maybe just talk about that whole strategy with the postcard.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like I'm doing anything original with it. I got it from Todd Swagger, Yellow Letters HQ. On his website, he shows the template on there, and he's got his family photo on it. And so when I started mailing the first month or two, we didn't have it on there, and then we decided to throw it on there and see how it went. And I think it's had a huge effect. I feel like it builds trust right out of the gate. With for one, they're able to see your face, but also to see that you're a real person with a family, and and I think even if if you don't want to put a family photo on there, I think maybe putting a photo of your team or something. I think it just helps build that trust up front, and something about people being able to see your face that just establishes a connection.
Yeah, absolutely. So like one of the things that we did too was when I was out there in Oklahoma City shooting video with Jimmy was we're kind of doing like Jimmy going around to a bunch of different houses and walking through some houses. And then, I still got you, Jimmy?
Yeah.
You good? Okay. For some reason it said that you left. I don't I was like, okay, see you. Oh, good. Okay. So I'll pick up. So when we were out there in Oklahoma City, Jimmy actually had me shoot a video in front of one of the nicer houses that he had out there with his whole family in front of him. And he kind of closed the video with, thanks for joining us. I don't remember exactly what you said, but you had your family in the shot there. And I think that's really cool because many people don't understand, especially when you're in marketing, that people base a lot of their decisions off of feelings and emotions, not logical, they don't do it logically like you as an investor would do. So you have to keep that in mind. And when they have the feeling of, family and of that kind of a function, and he even mentioned if you don't want to put your family on there, put your team on there as well. That's all good ideas. So Jimmy, real quick, is this something that you're putting that family photo on every single postcard that goes out? Are you doing any kind of A/B testing with, postcards without or with the photo, or is it all of them that go out have the photo?
All of them that go out have the photo.
So what kind of results? Yeah. So what kind of results are you guys seeing? I mean, you mentioned that you're getting, a few deals off of those. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, consistently every month, at least 50% or more of our deals are coming from those postcards. So
Wow.
we're getting pretty good. I don't have, like exact percentage rates of
Yeah, sure.
calls, stuff like that. I'm not that thorough with my tracking, but I do know, that, I mean, in July we bought 10 deals and 5 of them were from our direct mail. So.
Man, that's awesome. Do you think that has anything to do with and you and I had this conversation. I just want you to tell the audience here, like, is this just because maybe your market isn't that saturated? Is there not a lot of people doing postcards, or is there a lot of people doing postcards?
No,
That you're aware of.
There's a ton of people doing them. I mean, we're just
Sure.
in a stack of 15 or 20.
Yeah.
I think that's almost anywhere anymore, but yeah, there's huge competition here. So it's just another thing to try to stand out, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's, and guys, like, you're listening to this right now. This is, I mean, we had Zach Beach on last week talking about kind of getting a story from your customer as opposed to a testimonial. And these aren't any things that are, rocket science. There's nothing that, takes like a full marketing agency to implement stuff like this. These are just little actionable things that you could do that might, tip the scale, that might actually generate more leads for you. And so, like Jimmy said, I mean, he's got a lot of competition out there, stack of 15, 20 postcards when he goes to an appointment sometimes, and he's still getting the deals, and this might be one thing that's helping move that needle. So yeah, I think that's it. Jimmy, anything else you want to share? I mean, that's all I wanted you to really share on here, is just that idea, and I think that some people could take away and implement.
No, nothing else from me.
All right, awesome. Well, Jimmy, I appreciate you jumping on, man. Thank you so much for sharing that. Jimmy, if somebody wanted to connect with you, whether Facebook or email or phone number or whatever, how can somebody get in contact with you?
Facebook and Instagram, it's at the Jimmy Ogle.
At the Jimmy Ogle, not the real Jimmy Ogle, just the Jimmy Ogle. We don't even need the real Jimmy Ogle on there, just the Jimmy Ogle. All right, cool, man. Thank you so much for being on. Appreciate you guys. Make sure you reach out and connect with Jimmy. He's an awesome person. Love getting to work with him. So that's going to do it for today's weekly newsletter, Who's Crushing It segment. You guys make sure you join us next week for the next segment.